recorded.
Good afternoon and welcome to our Lutheran Church Missouri Synod School Ministries webinar. Today's webinar in cooperation with Concordia University, Wisconsin's Office of Continuing and Distance Education. This is one of our monthly National Lutheran School Accreditation Best Practice webinars. These webinars are provided to you as an opportunity to have staff development and to learn about the wonderful practices that are happening in Lutheran schools across the nation. Today's webinar is being presented by Salem Lutheran School in Tomball, Texas. It is a best practice webinar that is going to feature a unique and transformational practice that is underway at Salem. Just a reminder that all of the best practice webinars will also be available later on at the Lutheran portal. Salem Lutheran School exists to empower new generations of leaders for service to Christ. Salem's mission statement establishes a foundation for its curriculum and its total school experience for students. It's through Salem's strategic mentorship program that students become stronger as the body of Christ. Today they are going to share with us the development skills that allow them to touch the lives of parents, staff, and community by serving Christ in a spirit-led confidence. We will begin with a word of prayer. We pray. Dear Heavenly Father, at this time of Thanksgiving, we give you many thanks for all of the blessings that we have received. Lord, we thank you for the Lutheran School Ministry and our Lutheran schools that reach out into the communities to share Christ and His love. Lord, we give thanks for all of these blessings in Christ's name. Today's webinar will be led by a number of different presenters. We will be starting off with Mary Beth. She is the Director of Educational Ministries at Salem. God's blessings on this seminar.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're all getting ready for Thanksgiving, and we are, again, thankful for your time that you're taking. One of the things that we really want to hit for you is the important thing first, and that is how do we set up for success at Salem. And we believe in our children. We believe in their God-given skills. Our joy is seeing them become successful, and one of the ways we know we can do that is through mentoring them. And we'd like to begin with the word trust. I have a team around me. I'm blessed with that. They're extremely effective in the areas that they serve and how they mentor children. And besides all of us using administration as a gift that we have, we all teach, and especially Mrs. Smithers and Mrs. Honick, who are going to be talking to you. We trust each other. We believe in leadership among children. We believe in spending the time it takes over and above the classroom. So the first thing I would say is trust your staff, trust your professionals around you, buy into the philosophy. And when you walk into our school, the first thing you're going to see are students in leadership positions, and that's what we want parents to see that come from the outside. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how these children are leaders to other children and how we impact the school all the way from 8th grade to kindergarten with the various programs. So we're going to begin today with what we feel is something that any school can do. If you develop the philosophy, you believe in the leadership of the children, this is what you can do. And we're going to start with Larry Salfeld today, who's going to begin with tours.
Hi, everyone. I'm the Assistant Director here at Salem Lutheran School. For over 10 years, anytime we had a first-time visitor, parents, grandparents, individuals who are interested in their children attending Salem Lutheran School, we have our 8th grade members of the National Junior Honor Society give them a tour. Our guests do not meet with Dr. Gertner or myself. We turn them over to our 8th grade students. So how do we put this trust emphasis into their hands? Well, first of all, I train them for 45 minutes once on a campus tour, and that tour usually takes 35 to 40 minutes. Whenever our guests arrive, I have 2 students who give them this tour. They are matched according to their gender of the potential students. For instance, if a family has 2 girls, I'll have 2 8th grade girls give the tour. I'll also try and match up the age of the children, hoping to find a NJHS member who came like in 3rd grade or in 5th grade or who's been here since preschool. So we strategically match gender and age levels. The tours are done at open houses in which we have families visiting during the school day, after school. But we especially like Wednesdays after our chapel. And yes, our regular classes are going on, and they do miss their classes to do this. We also have our students on call at any time. We will never say, I'm sorry, we aren't giving tours that day. Many families move into the area, and their schedule is locked. And so we want them to know that we're going to accommodate them. Now, what's the advantage of having students give a tour? Well, first of all, our guests can ask them anything. There's no pat answer. There's honesty coming from our kids. We trust them to give an honest answer. And we train our students to say that if they don't know the answer to that, they'll refer the question directly to us. The other thing that we see is a lot of passion and love about Salem just exuding from our kids as they give the tour. As members of the National Junior Honor Society, we'll speak more to that society, that group, and how they got there. As members, they're our cream of our crop, so to speak. They love our place. They show passion. We have great leadership skills taught in this. Eye-to-eye contact, handshakes, yes sir, no ma'am, just complete attention to our guests. And what's really cool is when we go back to these individuals and say, hey, they signed up. And you should see the high fives and the handshakes that they give each other, knowing that they were influential in new leaders coming to our place, the next generation continuing on. Yes, they miss class. They're our top students anyway, and they'll do everything that they can to meet their expectations of giving the tours and their classroom requirements. I would strongly urge schools to consider this. We do not have a full-time registration or admissions director. That is shared between Dr. Gertner, myself, and our front office. And that's why we just put it in the hands of our 8th grade students. Again, we've been doing this for over 10 years and would highly recommend other schools to do the same. At this point, we're going to talk more about National Junior Honor Society. And Jennifer Smithers is our director for grade levels 3 through 5, a full-time teacher, and she's involved in the leadership of our National Junior Honor Society students.
All right, thank you, Larry. As Mr. Soffit said, I'm the advisor for the National Junior Honor Society at Salem here, and we are a member of the National Charter, and that is something any school can easily join. There's information on their website at National Honor Society, and we do follow the 5 cornerstones that they have, but we've actually added one more here at Salem, which is the Christian leadership. Now, part of the guidelines for the National Charter is that the students do individual service hours, so that goes right along with our students being leaders and serving the community. We also have to do a service project for the community, and we've done various different ones of these in the past, between helping schools rebuild playgrounds to helping Habitat for Humanity, and just helping our local food drive. So a couple of the next pictures here are showing some of the kids at chapel help. This one here is they're helping collect certain items that were collected. Shoes, I'm sorry, they know there's shoes in the trash bag. My eyes aren't quite good enough there. But the whole school collected the shoes, but then it was the National Junior Honor Society who got them all bagged up, and then when it was time to send them to that location, they were responsible for that. So that just makes it a little bit easier using those kids in that situations of having a whole large group doing it. Also, another one was pill packing. We do select our students in 7th grade, so they serve during 8th grade. And so this was a school day where they took half the day and they went and were packing pills for our Honduras team. Here's also another group of them we had collected for Star of Hope, and they had taken some things down there for that organization to use. And also one of the things that our National Junior Honor Society does is during chapel, they're the ones who lead and introduce the people who are going to be part of our chapel. And then also at the beginning of the year, we have the See You at the Pole, and since we're a K through 8th school, the 8th graders are the ones who organize it. And so the National Junior Honor Society has kind of taken that on for the next year to lead the students in doing that. So they do the planning, the promoting of it, the setting up, and the leading it. And this is one of those, I think, perfect opportunities. Sometimes it happens. One year they forgot to talk to maintenance, and yes, the sprinklers did go off. However, this year the group remembered to check with maintenance to make sure the sprinklers were turned off. They're the ones who decide, like, this is the flyer they made up for this year. They wanted that put on our website. Some years they decide to only do it on paper, pencil, you know, the old posters on the wall. So the group kind of decides how they want to do that. Now, in order to be in National Junior Honor Society, we do follow the guidelines that are for the National Charter. So we do have the grades must be 90% or above. They can never have served a detention. We're looking for around about 10 hours of service that were done individually. Also, they have to have recommendation from their teachers, and their church attendance is looked at. We're looking for 50% there. At that point, they also have to participate then in the interview process and filling out the paperwork. And like I said, if you want more information on that, their website is really good, or that's something you can contact me on individually. Another area that they help serve in is the Chamber of Commerce luncheon. They serve for that, which is just a great way for the community to see our kids out serving. And one of the things our National Junior Honor Society changed a couple years ago is that it's actually required that the schools give these kids some type of training. And so what we decided to do, Mr. Shakel, over, I guess, years has developed this program or found bits and pieces on peer mediation. And so he actually does the training. So I'm going to let him talk a little bit more about the peer mediation.
Sure. This same group, the National Junior Honor Society, are trained to become peer mediators. And it's a great program where they become involved in helping our kids solve problems. They sit down together in a room where we have 2 mediators and 2 of the students that are having a dispute, and they simply are there to help the kids that are disputing work through their problem. And they are very good at listening, and they will give suggestions as to how they can solve this issue or problem. And it's just a great way for them to mentor to our students here at Salem Lutheran School. And again, this is a program that's been in existence here for about 10 years.
All right. This is Jenny Honick here. You know, we've gone through our list. We've had our Dr. Gartner, our director. We've had our assistant principal, Mr. Stoffeld, our NJHS leader, Jennifer Smithers, and our athletic director, Bert Shakel. And now I'm going to be talking about just the service opportunities we have on campus. And my title is Spiritual Life Director, but I also do teach in the classroom, and we all do. And if you'll notice, we all have different roles on campus, which Dr. Gartner is excellent at finding what we're good at, what we're passionate about, and that is many of the times what you'll see that that's how we fit and how this puzzle is placed together. And our ACTS Council is just another example of that, and it stands for Ambassadors Called to Serve. And it's very similar to our NJHS program, but it is for kids from 3rd grade through 8th grade. And we have a teacher in charge of that. His name is Mr. Dave Bolt. And he is a full-time teacher. He has a full-time load, but he feels very passionate and that the kids are being able to serve. And so what these kids are doing, they're doing things very similar to what NJHS is doing. And the students in their classrooms help select them, and so does their teachers. And what they have to do is they have to have a servant's heart. They have to be hardworking and dependable because they actually go off campus sometimes, and they have to move boxes or carry things. They also, Mr. Bolt has them come to his classroom, and they meet him about every 2 weeks. During one of his planning periods, he sets aside a time that they come for about 15 minutes, and they take time to pray for the needs of the teachers and the students on campus, or maybe something that they know is going on in the community. He also shares with us students about the upcoming service projects that are happening. So we really do want to empower our kids of all ages. And I'm going to show you some pictures that are coming. If you'll see right here, these students ranging from grades 3rd through 8th, and this honestly they don't have to have a certain grade, because these are kids that really have a servant's heart but maybe wouldn't be able to make it into NJHS based on those other qualifications. But you can just see the joy on their faces. And what they're doing is they're helping organize the canned goods that we have for our Christmas pantry, because we have a great partnership with our missions department. And another thing we have is just a great partnership with our church in general, which I will talk about in just a little bit. So here's our kids organizing the food that's been brought in, and we're also going to talk about that ministry as well. The next one is where our students went off campus, and they went to deliver baby items to our local pregnancy center. They brought so many different items in, but we don't just believe in just serving. We want the kids to know what's happening in the community. So the director of the ministries will sit and talk to our kids and just share with them what their organization is about. And they usually get to do at least 2 service projects. We have an ACTS Council for the spring or the fall, and then we have a new group for the spring. And Mr. Bolt believes that everyone should be able to serve. So you really, once you're on ACTS Council once, it's not something you get to do again, not because we don't want them, but we want every student to be able to have that opportunity. The next thing I'm in charge of are programs and class chapels. And I have to say that this is one of the major aspects of that is partnering with our church. We believe that relationship with our technology department, our worship department, our mission department is exactly what we need, because we all know that our main goal here as a school and a church is to help people come into relationship with Jesus Christ and to grow in their relationship with Christ. So in the past, I have met with the worship department probably once a month just to make sure that we're all on the same page and we're not overlapping and stepping on each other's toes. But this year we've intentionally started to meet once a week as we plan for chapels and upcoming programs. Just recently we had our Veterans Day program, which we put on every year. And in our program, we make sure that the gospel message is presented, because we realize that many people that come to programs maybe will never go to church. So the gospel message is always in our program. And the different programs that we have are our Veterans Day, because we want our veterans to know that they are honored. And we teach our kids. We train them intentionally about what that respect looks like. We also have our Christmas program. We have Grandparents' Day, which we want to honor our grandparents as well, and we want our students to realize that their family heritage is very important. And we also have our spring program. Our chapels are designed to, they have a yearly theme, and our yearly theme this year is WOW, and it stands for Worthy of Worship. And every class gets to be a part and play a role in that, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Our verse for this year is Hebrews 12:28, and it's talking about, since we're receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, let us worship God with reverence and awe. Last year, just another example of a yearly theme would be the amazing race, and that was Hebrews 12:1. Since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us run the race. And that has just been an ongoing thing that we've had. And what happens is each class is responsible to lead one chapel throughout the year. We have 3 classes in each grade level. So kindergarten, first grade, and 8th grade, they all just do one grade level chapel, whereas all the other classes have an individual class chapel that they lead. That means that if a student has been at Salem from kindergarten through 8th grade, they would have been on stage leading in front of a very large group 9 different times. And usually our kids actually get more opportunities to be in front than that. And we found that as this happens and the older our students get, that they really don't mind being in front of the crowd, and they understand about the microphones and the expense of them and that type of thing. What I'll do is I take a calendar at the beginning, or even during the school year right now, and probably a couple of months I will start planning for chapels next year. Our leadership team will already come up with a theme, and by the end of the year we'll have teachers signing up for chapels so that they can start planning for the summer. Our 5th graders, also what we do is we mentor them as they lead and bring the flags forward every week, and say they do pledges. Some of them will carry the flags down, and others of them will lead. And they actually come for practice time prior to chapel, so they're learning about preparation. With our chapels, let's go to the next picture. You'll see this is a class that they had just performed, and we like to take their pictures at the end. And at the end, we have end of the year, we have a chapel where we review the different things they've done throughout the year. The teachers are really only responsible for about a 10-minute message with their kids. The music's already taken care of. The pledges are taken care of. The offering and announcements we take care of. But the message piece, we've got it worked out so that the teachers don't have to worry about the whole chapel message and the whole chapel, just to make it easier, and there's a lot less stress on the teacher. We also have a program called LEAD, and this is something that we do in partnership with the church as well. And it's to train 5th and 6th grade students in leadership. So it stands for Lead, Equip, Achieve, and Develop. And what these students do is they are learning and preparing, and we're trying to mentor them into leadership in junior high and into high school. So those kids, what they'll do is they're trained at church, but many of them go to our school. Sometimes they lead music in chapel, or they'll do a skit. They help out in Sunday school. They'll actually go in on Sunday morning, and they will work the technology, or they'll lead songs, or they'll pray, or they'll do skits there in Sunday school. One of the things that's just a picture of some of the kids there, as they had done a chapel for leadership, and they were actually choreographed a song, and we're sharing that with the chapel. One of the things unique to Salem, or not just what our name is probably unique to Salem, other schools probably do this, but it's called Chapel Buddies. And it's an intentional mentorship program where we connect an older grade with a younger grade. And then as these students meet, they get their own special friend. Sometimes you have 2, just depending on the numbers of the students. But they'll read together, they'll play together outside, they work on projects together. And once a month they sit together in chapel. And what it does is it holds each other, the kids, accountable. The older kids see the younger kids know who they are. And as they go through the hallways, they're able to say hi to them. And so there's a nice level of respect that's earned on both sides. Does anybody else want to speak into Chapel Buddies?
We have a great picture coming up, Jenny.
Oh, yes.
I have some Chapel Buddies. This is probably the easiest that any school, no matter what size you are, you can do it. And it takes training from the teachers of the older students and the teachers of the younger students. And how do you react to one another? And when is it time to be silly, and when is it a time not to be silly? And these kiddos just absolutely love their Chapel Buddies. And sometimes we have to intervene and redirect kids when they get together, but they absolutely learn so much. You know, one thing we know about junior high kids, is that the worst thing that can happen to them is to not fit in. And the worst thing that can happen to a young child is not to have an older child to look up to. And we feel like we make both of those times to really make an effort to make that happen in both categories. So our older kids are winning and our younger kids are winning also. Mr. Salford, I think there's one more picture that, well, no, we're not there. Okay, we're going to go on to life skills, and we're going to talk about that now, about some life skills that we're mentoring our kids there.
All right. So lifetime skills. Our partnership with the church once again comes into play. We have an incredible opportunity that we have students who work with our tech department. And if you'll notice, if you'll see, we're actually up in a technology booth where the kids are running the content for the screens. And this is kind of fun because this is a Chapel Buddy Day, and the little boy with headphones on is the younger student. And you can just see the older student is so excited to show him just how to work the switcher board. So it's just really, this is really a fun picture that we really are enjoying looking at right now. Yeah, and so our students, what they'll do is they actually learn how to run the sound, they learn how to run the lights in the worship center, they learn how to run the screen content, they learn how to run the switcher board, they take care of the microphones, they're learning how to connect different things together in there. And so their responsibilities are that they come early. They come at 7 o'clock every Wednesday morning to run the chapel. They also run all their programs, the school programs. They're also responsible to come to church once a month, and they partner with the church, and they work a church service. And so that means that they have to come on a Wednesday night for a practice and then come early Sunday morning. So it's a win-win situation for the school and the church because the students are able to learn, and the church is able to have a volunteer as well. And a lot of times we'll see former students that are in high school come back to volunteer. Another one of the same ministries is our praise band. And our praise band, if you'll notice, here's another picture. And this is actually See You at the Pole Day. And those two students are on our praise band, but they're also National Junior Honor Society students. And our praise band, what they do is they actually mentor these students and training them in their instruments and in their singing. And they sing during chapel with them, but they also will sing on Sunday mornings maybe in the youth service. And many of them will come, either they'll sing or play their instrument in the main worship service as well. So we're empowering these students to come into the worship service right away. We have 16 students in that group, and we have 2 different praise band groups. They have percussion instruments, keyboard, guitar, and we have vocalists. Another incredible thing that we have on our campus is our technology. And I know that I already said tech, but that was for the church. This is our technology director with 3 students. 2 of them are 8th graders, and 1 is a 7th grader. And they interned over the summer on campus, and they did jobs that you would have adults do. They would go in and they work on our phones, they work on our computers. Our 5th through 8th grade is 1-to-1 as far as technology goes, and these students are able to help with a lot of different things. They're actually hand-picked students because of their knowledge, their quick, how they were able to learn the technology. But they also are able to, they were proven trustworthy. We trust them. They know that they could lose that honor, but they are learning skills that adults are learning or kids are learning in college level. And we just feel blessed because it's a hired position. We could hire a position and these kids could learn it, and they're absolutely wonderful. I just had one of those students help me set up my voicemail on my phone about 30 minutes ago. He said, it'll take about 2 minutes, Mrs. Honick. Okay. We also, with music, we have an honor choir who just went and trained. Probably a lot of other schools sent kids to do that if you're in the Texas area. So we have our honor choir, so we want our music program to train our kids to have life skills, and we also have a great art program. Our campus, we have art from the time the kids are in kindergarten, and it's really not an elective. It's something they get at the core. And one of the neat things, if anyone knows David Kim, he's out of Houston, and he works with Link Ministries. And one of his words that we've kind of stole from him or used is called glocal. And it basically is global and local missions, and that's what Salem's about. We're about training our kids to love the world globally and locally. Salem is about 3 years ago, we started a ministry called Kids Caring for Kenya. And these students have just jumped right on board. And what Kids Caring for Kenya is it's bringing awareness, raising funds, prayers for buying bed nets to help end malaria deaths in Africa. And it wasn't something that the students wanted to do alone. So they decided to go out in the community and share just the information with people. We've done 2 runs in the community. We have World Malaria Day where we'll go into the community and engage with different people. Through these years of doing that, the students have raised $100,000 for this ministry. We also, we have a teacher that decided she would like to go overseas and spend a year in Kenya to minister to some students there, some babies. The students raised enough money to send her there, and if you'll see this cute little draft that our librarian made, the kids raised close to $30,000 when it was all said and done to send this teacher. And she's actually here this week, and she's going to talk to the students about that and just how they've played a part in her being there. And we believe that the kids need to see. We like to try to find hands-on projects where they can actually see where they have made a difference. And honestly, when we're talking about Kids Caring for Kenya, our church has gone and handed out nets, and in many of those places, they can see a marked difference in the malaria, that it is not as bad, as prevalent in those areas. We also are in the process of planning a mission trip for our 7th and 8th grade students this summer. Last summer, some of our teachers in ministry went to Slovakia to teach English camp, and that's something we've been working on. We're not exactly sure if that's what we're doing, but we do have several different options of sending our kids globally so that they're able to serve overseas along with their parents and some ministries there. This is another opportunity that our kids can serve in the Houston area. 5th and 6th graders went down to the 3rd Ward in Houston over the summer, and they're going back again during the holiday season. So kids are able to do that. We want to make an impact in our community as well as overseas. This is one of the runs we're involved in. And we also do things over the summer. These 3 students were part of the Tomball Kids Club, a summer project, where we go and play with kids and we also help give a lunch. Some kids need the extra food. Some kids just come to play. But it's just a neat opportunity that these kids are involved in. Another great ministry is our box ministry. And this is something we do with the church, with our early childhood, and with our kids. And it's where we bring tangible objects, and so it's not just raising money, because we do have our offerings that we designate, but this is where kids are either bringing in items for kids to have a backpack and pencils and things to start the school year. As you saw earlier in our slideshow, we had kids that brought shoes in. We also have, this month, we're bringing in stuffed animals so that we can give to kids. We do coats. We do toothbrushes. There's just a lot of different things we do with our box ministry because we want our kids to be able to bring in tangible items as well, to realize that they need to share their things with others. And it's a great opportunity because it's something we do at church. So if they go to Salem Church, they'll see that other people are doing it as well. And these are our National Junior Honor Society kids helping with one of those box ministries that they were bringing, like different items that are going to be delivered to the people at our Thanksgiving community service project that we're doing with many people in the town. Now, the person that was going to talk about this is Mr. Suffolk. So anyway, he went to get a charger. So the community service projects are multiple, and we've already talked about several of them. These girls, we have a annual service project day. during the Christmas season. It's usually the last week of school right before Christmas break, and the kids go and they will either go to elderly people's homes who really can't get out and take care of their yard. And this is actually one of those pictures where the girls where they're working all day, just having a good time. And that is December in Houston. So don't be jealous of us that we're not having to wear coats. But we also have kids that will go sing at nursing homes. We have kids, and this year we're having handbells. They're going to go play at local grocery stores. And then when they're not playing, they're going to help deliver the groceries to the cars. We have students that will go and many times buy gifts for people that don't have them or that aren't going to be able to afford them, and they'll wrap those and maybe the angel tree project they've done in the past. So that's just one of our many projects. Now I'm going to hand you over to our Mr. Shakel again, our athletic director, as he talks about sports at Salem and how that's a mentorship opportunity.
Yes, thank you. One thing that's really exciting this week is that our 3rd and 4th grade group, our Little Saints cheerleaders, which I believe are involved even in one of these pictures, they are going to be heavily involved in our community. They're working on a float. They'll be in our Tomball annual parade, and they'll really be reaching out to our community this coming Saturday. And it's just really neat to see our younger kids involved in our athletic program. And for the most part, it is our boys and girls in grades 5 through 8. But we want to continue to build them up, especially in the area of sportsmanship and leadership, because these characteristics will help them throughout their entire life.
And we're just really excited that over the years we've had a philosophy of not cutting any kids from teams. Anyone that wants to play a sport is involved in our program. We place them at strategic competitive levels. And so we have a complete program for their participation and leadership to come out in soccer, volleyball, cross country, cheerleading, basketball, track, softball, baseball, and golf. And we're just really excited to see the Saints in a competitive setting outside of the expectations that we have them as leaders in the classroom and the community. One other thing that I will say is we're blessed with great facilities on our campus here so that we can accommodate a family-friendly program where our practices are until 5 o'clock at night. That can be challenging when we have 11 basketball teams on our campus, but we're really blessed to have great facilities and to have 2 games going on at one time anytime we need it. And so it doesn't become a extended day going much beyond 8:30 at night.
I'd like to just add a few things. This is Mary Beth again, and thank you, Jenny, Larry, and Jen, for our input. We're looking at some questions, and Mrs. Smithers has been answering some of them. One thing we want you to know is we haven't always been the size we are, and we're roughly around 500 students right now, and with our early childhood, more than 650. We were not but 8 years ago, we were half our size. And Jen reminds me that when we started back up again with NJHS, we hadn't had it for about 10 years. And we just decided back in 2000, 2001, that we need to get rolling again. And we had only 4 students when we first started. But we knew that when the pendulum swung, many of you will remember, back to where everybody wins and everybody gets a ribbon. Well, then everybody didn't have a role model. And we firmly believed in taking the bull by the horns and figuring this thing out. And what we found among our culture of our parents was that we had more single business owners than we thought we ever had. And these people want their kids to be leaders in the community, not just to make money and to win, but to be influences of Christian leadership and service. And we are blessed to be able to come up with some strategies to do that. And what I want to remind you of is that it costs no money to do what we did other than to have a a little line in our budget for NJHS and to benefit with these kids when they go out to eat or to buy their meal when they're out doing a service project. But we firmly believe in these children are our future. And we've got to take some time to deliberately affect their lives in ways that we feel are spiritual and they can use for the rest of their lives. I love what Mr. Shackle said about sports. It teaches them the game of life. And we truly believe that. We're excited when we see these kids want a cause. They are hungry. Our children are hungry for opportunities to serve. And like Mrs. Honick said, like Jenny said, it's all about being passionate about helping another individual. And when they can relate to another child in some way, such as the malaria net, they feel like they've truly made a difference. And our staff works hard to come up with ways to do that. Is it difficult? Sure it is. Do they always want to do it? No, they don't. And we can just tell you about the staff meetings that we have when they go Chapel Buddies, really. And we go Chapel Buddies, really. It's one of our strategies that we firmly believe in. And yes, it takes class time away. You heard Mr. Southfield talk about the time that the kids have to come out of class. But is it worth it? You betcha it's worth it. And we truly believe as a team and now as staff that come here and go, whoa, you are convinced that this works. And we go, look at our children. Look at our 8th graders that lead tours. Look at our 8th graders that went over to Concordia High School today and took part in Future Freshman Day. We're going to get reports back. Those kids are great. Those kids were amazing. They know how to act. They know how to interact. They know when to jump in when someone needs help. They know how to, on instincts. My favorite job that these kids do is on a rainy day in Houston, and we get a lot of them. They're out there with umbrellas with Mr. Salfeld, and they are unloading cars, getting soaking wet with a smile on their face. And it's just amazing to me how children want to class, want to help. So if you'll type in questions, we'll be glad to jump in and answer those. But what I really want you to know is you don't have to be any size to believe in Christian leadership. And that's what we hope to do here at Salem. And we've done it for 163 years, and we're certainly hoping that as we go forward, we can honor the people who began our school, believing that they truly were leaders in their community because God provided everything we needed to begin with. Anybody else have a last-minute comment? We love what we do. We're blessed that you took part in our webinar. If you want to go ahead and send questions, visit our website. Any one of us would love to sit down with you and talk to you how you can begin a program or continue a program of leadership within your school. You've been a blessing to us today. Okay.
Well, are there any more questions out there for Mary Beth or Jenny regarding their program at Salem? Seems like we have some typing going on here, so we'll go ahead and let that typing take place. Susan is typing, so we'll see if there's a question there. While we're waiting for that to come up, just a reminder, there was supposed to be another webinar being done by Salem that we had to cancel. We are in the process of trying to reschedule that. So keep your eye on the emails that come across. We do have our next set of webinars starting back in January. We will be having Valley Lutheran High School from Saginaw, Michigan. Will be doing their presentations in January. There will be information coming out from the national office regarding those. So are there any other questions that are out there?
Well, we've got one here from.
Yep.
Just starting some of these programs.
Well, that's the blessing that we want in this, is to give encouragement to other Lutheran schools to try things that they can hear about that are being done in other schools that have been a blessing, that they can be a blessing at their schools also.
Good.
Well, seeing that there are no more questions that are coming forward, I would like to thank Mary Beth and Jenny for providing all of their leadership with this and the presentation that was done. We thank all of you for being with us today at our webinar, and as we get close to Thanksgiving, we give praise to God for all of the blessings that Lutheran schools have seen over the years and the blessings that are yet to come. So at this time, I will be ending the webinar unless there are any other questions. Matt, thank you for providing the technology support today. And if there is nobody else, we wish you God's blessings in your Thanksgiving season.